following program has been approved for pro wrestling fans by the creators of the Angle Podcast.
Oh, wrestling fans! Clap for the Angle Podcast!
The Angle Podcast.
Angle Podcast.
The Angle Podcast.
The Angle Podcast.
The Angle Podcast. It's the Angle Podcast. How exciting!
Welcome, everyone, back to a brand new edition of the Angle Podcast. As always, I am your host, Joey Karni. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and like down below to stay up to date with all things from the Angle Podcast. Now, with me today is someone who defines the word dynamite. She's on a mission to hold gold. And after this week's overdrive, she may be doing just that. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Masha Slamovich. How are you? And welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, and I'm doing rather well today.
Especially going into a big match, another big title match for you. So I just suspect that you should be, you're all pumped up for this upcoming Friday. But before signing with Impact, you appeared briefly with the company and even at NWA's Empower event, where you really put the world on notice. How did you react to the overwhelming response that you got with people just loving you and loving Masha?
I had a bit of a feeling that NWA would be just that. It would be the moment that I was exposed to more fans who did not have their eyes on me just yet. After my return from Japan and starting to take over the independent scene, I knew that I had a very brief amount of time on the screen at NWA Empower, and I thought that I should use it wisely and to make a statement. So I think I was able to do just that. And I was very happy also to be a part of the NWA that night at the Chase.
Yeah, and being from Russia, do you have any favorite Russian superstars that kind of carried over to the United States, and really just big names that stood out to you growing up, and even like your biggest wrestling inspirations?
Unfortunately, within the realm of professional wrestling, there's not an awful lot of authentic Russian representation. So growing up, my favorites were Canadian and English, actually, with the Dynamite Kid, and Chris Benoit, actually trained by a bunch of Canadians, but not actually Canadian himself. So correction there. But like I said, not much representation from my country, and I'm working to change that.
Of course. And so I suspect more of a high flyer, I guess technical style, you would say, was more of your style that you kind of liked growing up.
Definitely. I liked the fighting. I liked the bruiser, brawler, whatever you'd like to call it. I just liked intensity.
And, the great Mickie James has praised you, and even Gail Kim saw your potential. That's, giving you the contract in the ring. It's quite a way to make an impact, no pun intended there. But was there any pressure knowing that not many people get those kind of moments where you're in the ring and Gail Kim presents you with a contract for Impact Wrestling?
It's certainly not something that I expected to happen to me. You see other members of the wrestling community, your peers, have moments such as that, and I find myself to be happy for them. I never particularly imagined that being the case for me, but I'm very glad that it was.
Yeah, and I mentioned earlier, you've had matches previously before with Impact, and you faced the likes of Havoc and even Jordynne Grace, where in those you were unsuccessful. But fast forward to 2022, you were running an undefeated streak and kind of redeeming yourself against all of those who you had lost to originally outside of Jordynne. Did stacking up those wins and really going on that crazy streak make you more violent and extreme as the confidence grew? Like what did it do for you personally going on that streak?
Well, I think that confidence is honestly a key factor every single time that I step into the ring. So having that undefeated streak only solidified what I believe to be true, and that would be that I'm one of the best wrestlers, not only in Impact, but actually across the world. And I will continue to prove that match by match, pay-per-view by pay-per-view, and day by day.
Yeah, and with every negative, obviously there is a positive. And despite not getting the win at Bound for Glory, and ending your undefeated streak, you and Jordynne Grace put on what so many are saying, which is a match of the year contender. How did it feel after that match to see that match got so much attention and just praise that it got?
Well, even though the match didn't have the desired outcome for me, I am definitely acknowledging the fact that it was probably the best match of the night. And as some of the ratings say, the top rated knockouts match in Impact history, and certainly a match of the year contender. I am very proud of that match, and I think iron sharpens iron. And I think that was a excellent. And there will be another one this Friday at Overdrive.
Absolutely. And speaking of Overdrive, obviously on Friday, the 18th on Impact Plus, Impact presents Overdrive, where you once again face Jordynne Grace for the Knockouts World title, this time being a last knockout standing match, which seems to be right up your alley, extreme violence. What goes into your preparation mentally, knowing that this is your second chance at Jordynne in the title?
I think you're asking the wrong competitor that question. I think that I'm stepping into one of my favorite realms, playing with all of the weapons that I very much enjoy. So I think Jordynne Grace better be the one thinking on some ideas and preparing for the match.
Yeah, we've seen previously the Monsters Ball and all different types of matches. So I think, like I said, this is right up your alley. And what about those type of matches, like, get you excited? Like what's the thing about those that just makes you love it?
The violence, the blood, the unpredictability, the element of danger. I think all of it makes for some excitement for those who like to take the rougher path in life, shall we say?
Yeah. And obviously winning the Knockouts World title would be game changing. What would it mean for you to hold that gold?
It would solidify everything that I've done. It will be another goal of mine reached. And then after I become champion this Friday at Overdrive, my next steps will be revealed step by step, one thing at a time.
Of course. And it's strategic. It makes sense. It's what the it's the direction of a champion. So I'm very excited to see that. So something unique to you that stands out amongst the rest of really all women in wrestling is your look. You have a unique style. I know that there's people, or you've said before that there's, some Luna and different things like that. What's the biggest inspiration behind your look, behind the way that Masha Slamovich presents herself?
There is not really any inspiration. It is doing what feels natural, presenting myself in a way that I feel confident. And of course, most of my attire and makeup and whatnot is a OD to some of the great legends of Joshi wrestling. Akira Hokuto, for example, Bull Nakano being another.
Awesome. And I've had the opportunity to chat with Jordynne, and she has said that someone will have to rip that title out of her cold, dead hands in order, to take that title. Being that she's been really your biggest obstacle so far in Impact, what about Jordynne Grace? Let me switch it here. What about Jordynne Grace do you admire most? Is there anything that you admire about her?
I admire the fact that perhaps I see a little bit of myself in her. She has that intensity, she has that will and that fight and that strength in her that I don't find across many women in professional wrestling. So I think she's one of the perfect opponents for me. And that also brings its own element of excitement.
Yeah, and like we've referenced before, before you were signed to Impact, you had a match with Jordynne that you were unsuccessful. And then the first title opportunity, again, you were unsuccessful. This going into the third technical opportunity against Jordynne. Is there anything that you're thinking you have to do differently in this? Because you kind of know her really well at this point. Is there anything different you think that has to change for you?
Oh, sure. Well, that would be winning.
Yeah, of course. And obviously, there's a lot at stake in Impact. The Knockouts World Championship. We have tag team titles. We have the digital media championship, but also we have Mickie James' last rodeo. Now, obviously, Mickie is winning her way through the Knockouts division to keep her career alive. But the difference here is that you like to kill. So is that a match that's inevitable in Impact, you think, between you and Mickie, either for the title or not for the title? Is that just something that you would look forward to?
I certainly think when the time and place is right, anything is possible.
There, perfect. And I know there's a lot of women across the board, and a lot of knockouts across the board in Impact. You've made your way through already, but there's legends that come back here and there, and there's a lot of outside talent as well, unsigned free agents. Is there anyone that you specifically would love to face?
Anyone and everyone who would like to step into the ring with me is more than welcome.
And intergender wrestling, to sort of say, is making a comeback, and you're really honestly at the forefront of that. We've seen matches with Jake Something. We have Alex Shelley. There's a lot of different matches that you've been a part of or will be a part of. What are your thoughts first on intergender wrestling, but also it kind of making a comeback where we really kind of lost it for a while?
I think that gender is irrelevant in wrestling. I think it's truly just competitor versus competitor, better wrestler and worse wrestler. That's all you can have. And I think there's a lot of people who have a lot of opinions on intergender wrestling that may be incorrect. And speaking to those people after having them watch one of my matches and hearing that I'm able to change their mind about what they thought intergender wrestling was is probably one of the most rewarding experiences. I live to prove people wrong, especially in my favorite type of professional wrestling, which would have to be intergender wrestling. So I'm very happy to be at the forefront of it. And I think it's no different from any other kind of wrestling.
I couldn't agree 100%. I think that it's should be considered the same thing. And I know for a while, Impact Wrestling has done their fair share of intergender wrestling, have intergender matches. And that's one of the reasons why I will forever praise Impact. We've seen over the last few years, Impact has really been the most consistent wrestling show, giving tons of opportunity, being in a lot of ways the most creative. What for you from Impact stands out the most amongst other, other places?
I think Impact gives us the most possibility to do what we want and showcase what we want in the ring. I think it is a place where people are able to grow as professional wrestlers, as professionals. People are able to build their brand and also not have any restrictions on working in the independent scene. So I think it's probably the best of both worlds and the best place I could possibly be right now.
I couldn't agree more. I think, like I said, I'll forever praise Impact just for the opportunities they give and the creativity that comes out. But for a lot of people watching, this may be the first time that they're seeing Masha Slamovich. So for those new fans and fans who are just finding out about you, what can you tell them about who you are and what they can expect from you?
I think I am a very unique wrestler who's unlike any other in between the ropes, outside of the ring, versatile in any style, and a master of my craft. So if you want to watch good professional wrestling, regardless of gender, like we'd just spoken about, I would suggest myself as someone to watch.
Perfect. And for everyone listening and watching right now, where can they go and follow and support and really just learn more about Masha Slamovich?
You can find me at Instagram, Twitter, and honestly, any other social media aside from TikTok, because I am not there and I will not be there. But every other place would be at Masha Slamovich.
Awesome. Masha, thanks so much for taking the time to chat and really just letting us dive into your mind a little bit. I know you have a big match coming up on Friday. There's a lot to in your case, you don't have to prepare. You're already ready for this match. And just good luck at Overdrive. And everyone listening and watching, you can catch Masha and the rest of Impact Wrestling live on Friday, Impact Plus for Overdrive. And like I said, good luck in your last knockout standing match. And I'd love to do this again when you're holding some gold.
Thank you very much.
And before you go, please subscribe to binge more content right here on the Angle Podcast. Thanks for watching.